Hi, this is Milani Massage Therapy, and today we're going to be talking about health histories. I know the form looks a little intimidating and dense when you first look at it, but they're real simple and they're pretty straightforward. So today I'm going to walk you through one. So on your health history at the very top, we have your contact information. The most important stuff is knowing how to be able to contact you and what's the best way. So by phone or by email is a really important thing to know. The next thing that's going to be on there is usually your address, and those are really helpful for keeping track of records, especially if you're doing alcohol or mobile massage like I do. Another thing that's on there is going to be your occupation and employer. The occupation and the employer are important because with your occupation, that tells us how you're using your body all day. If you're working in something like construction versus someone who's working in a desk environment, you're using very different body dynamics, different muscle structures, and knowing that information can really give us some insight into what might be the best techniques to use for you or what areas might need the most attention. When it comes to your employer, it's helpful to know your employer because some employers might have benefit structures that allow you to see therapists, and we want you to get the best care you can and to know about those kinds of deals. Though usually your employer will inform you, and they tend to be with larger groups like a chair massage that might come to your work. But sometimes you never know, smaller employers might find local therapists who are interested in working with their company to keep their staff healthy and, working happy. Right after that, it usually has a line that asks how you found us. The reason why that's important is mostly to the therapist so that we know who's paying attention and where to put our information so that people like you can find the care they need with us. So if we know that you're finding us on Google versus Facebook versus Yelp, it tells us where we should be putting our attention and effort. And that's more for the therapist, but it's also really helpful with keeping that with your information. So after that, it gets into a little bit more of the specific health histories. And a lot of people ask me, do I have to fill out every line on the form? The answer is not really. If you don't have a lot of complications, a lot of the lines won't pertain to you. So my favorite is always the guys who come in and say, do I have to fill out the am I pregnant? And I was like, well, pretty sure you're not pregnant. But, it's good to have that information because you never know who's walking in the door, and these forms are for everybody. So our most important information that we need from you is any kind of injuries, any recent surgeries, or any long-standing healthcare issues. That would be things like diabetes, high or low blood pressure, any kind of sustained injuries that continue to cause you problems, like if you damaged, say, for example, your hip and you had a hip replacement and it didn't go well. Knowing that you have a hip that's having issues is very helpful, so we know what areas need to be worked on or avoided if there's any contraindications. And what a contraindication is essentially us knowing if massage will help or hinder your success and your health. So for example, if you have a cold, if you come in with a common cold, getting a massage is going to make you feel worse. So that would be a contraindication. And there's also inclusive indications, which are things like if you're a pro athlete and your IT band is very tight, we know that, massage can help that instead of causing it to be worse. So those are kind of important things. Again, those top priorities are surgeries, injuries, and long-standing health care. So that covers a lot of those. And we'll have some examples usually on every form where we'll have a bunch of the different healthcare issues that could be long-standing, any kind of treatments that would be going on. And we have a little explanation chart right down there in case you have something very specific you want to talk about. The next part on the other side of the paper is going to be if you've had a massage before and if you know what kind of massage you're coming in for. I am a medical and sports massage therapist, and while I do relaxation, it's very helpful to know what you're coming for. If your goal is to have a spa day and to calm your body down, me hitting those trigger points and trying to fix your neck from working at a computer all day is not going to be that good experience because it's not the massage you asked for. And that's a great thing to have there because it lets me know that what is your goal today? And we also talk about that when you come in. We will have a conversation, but that's a good little spot that I always check to make sure that I'm giving you what you're coming in for as a client who's seeking massage therapy. That also includes like what kind of pressure are you looking for? And then it goes into the next section, which is, do you have any areas you want to avoid or any areas you do want to focus on? So I know a very common one is people say, don't touch my feet, I'm very ticklish. And knowing that is also important because I don't want you jumping off the table because, your feet are sensitive and I didn't know it. And there could also be things like people with chronic headaches say, please always include my neck. And I'll write that note on there and I'll make sure I highlight it on your chart so that way I know that that's important and that will make a big difference in your session. The other thing that's important to know is also if you've had any allergies, nut allergies, allergies to any kind of scents or detergents are important. Most people think about food allergies the most, but honestly, people can be allergic to anything. In my practice, I use hypoallergenic sheets, I use hypoallergenic cleaners, and I use hypoallergenic lotions and whatnot so that it has a very low capacity for anybody to be sensitive or to react with it. So there's no nuts in my products. There's no high scents or very perfumed cleaners on my sheets when I put them through the wash. And I try to keep everything very clean and very tidy so that, it reduces any risk of coming into contamination that might make someone react. When it comes to your session, it's really all about you. And everybody feels they can feel what's going on in your body, but you can't always express it as clearly as drawing a picture sometimes. So we also have a section right here that's got a little body chart. So that's the front, the back, and both sides. And that allows you to circle the areas that are giving you trouble and to give us an idea of where your body is uncomfortable and what needs to be focused on. It's a really great way for us to understand how you're feeling that day and what to be paying attention to. So every time you come in, of course, we don't fill out a whole nother health history. It's usually a one-time thing the first time that you come to a massage therapist, and then once a year, every year after that. We hang on to these, we keep them in confidential files, and we don't share them with anybody unless you've given us express permission to do so, which is, of course, another form that we have you sign. But these forms are confidential, and every time you come in, instead of filling out a new form, we'll ask you if you have any updates. And when it comes to the body map where we have you circle things, we mostly go over it in person through a conversation and see if anything has changed or if those areas are still of concern. So that's kind of the gist of a health history form. And, every time you fill one out, it may sound irritating when you go to like a new doctor's office, you have to fill another one of them out. But it's a really great tool that makes sure that we're giving you the best massage you could get. And we're also watching out for your health and safety and showing that we care to not only make you feel better, but to make sure that you're informed whenever you talk to us about a massage and what's going on with your body. Well, I hope this helped, and I hope that you like that information, and I look forward to working with you.